years. But I encourage people who are new just to pick a strategy, focus on it, learn the basics of options, learn to get your solid foundation, focus on that strategy, all the details every day. Try to study the strategy, practice it, paper trade it, and then put some real money to work. That's a small amount of capital to work, learn it, and then once you start to succeed, then you can build upon that. It's a number of people, that's how they do it. Some people come into trading options and they just willy-nilly, they're just jumping around from all these strategies. They see us doing these strategies on our live calls and they say, oh, that looks exciting, that looks fun, let me do that. And then they really never learn any strategy. And that's hurting them, that's hampering their growth. You have to learn one strategy and then you can move on to something else if that's the case. But in this video, we're going to discuss the process of learning to trade. What is the best steps you can take to be able to learn to trade, and not just to break even, but to be successful, to be able to at least supplement your income in a significant way or make it your primary source of income. At the Dorian Trader, we have a number of different strategies that we teach. So I'm going to go over some of those strategies in this video and tell you what we believe is the best way to kind of learn those strategies so that you can accelerate your learning process. So let's start with the most conservative strategy that we teach. We call it the safeguard strategy. A number of people have heard of the wheel strategy. The wheel strategy is when you sell a naked put, and then if you have to take ownership of the shares, you then sell covered calls against that position. That's called the wheel strategy. And once you sell that call and if your shares are taken away, then you do the process over. So that's why it's called the wheel process. You sell the naked put, you have to take ownership of the shares, and then you sell the covered call. And if your shares are taken away because the stock jumps up, then you do the process all over again. You start by going over the naked put again. But at the Dorian Trader, we add two more strategies to the process so that it can enhance the overall strategy. It can protect you more to the downside and give you unlimited upside potential, because one of the bad things about the wheel strategy is that if the stock drops too much and your cost basis gets out of whack, it's harder to come back. It takes a longer time to come back. And a lot of retail investors just don't like that process. That's one of the negative things about it. And a lot of retail investors experienced that in 2022 when the market was dropping. They realized, wow, the wheel strategy is a bullish strategy. Absolutely it is. And the safeguard strategy that we teach at the Dorian Trader, it's also a bullish strategy, but we can protect you more to the downside and give you unlimited upside, which the wheel strategy does not. So for example, we add this strategy called the collar strategy. The collar strategy is just when you take a covered call that you sell, you take some of that premium from that call and you buy a put to protect yourself from the downside, because a put gives you the right to sell at a certain strike price. So if you have that put on when you have that covered call type of process, it's turned into a collar, and that allows you to protect yourself to the downside. You minimize your downside as you minimize your upside, right? And so that's the third type of strategy we add to the wheel strategy that we call the safeguard strategy. And the last strategy we add is what we call the bionic bull. The bionic bull is just taking a naked put, just like you do with that wheel strategy, but besides just selling that naked put, you take some of that premium, you buy a call. So a call gives you the right to buy at a certain strike price. So if you sell a put, someone gives you some premium, you take some of that premium and then you buy a call, that would allow you to have unlimited upside within the time frame that you're trading. So we believe that's the most safe strategy out there, because it's like a buy and hold strategy. The worst case scenario, you have to hold the shares for a long period of time, and most of us understand that through trading in a 401k or trading in our own kind of brokerage accounts, and we're just buying shares, and we make money if it goes up. And some of the shares we buy, we hold it for a long time. Some of these companies like Apple, Walmart, Google, companies such as that, we buy shares in it and we hold it for a long time, hoping or believing that the shares will go up over time. And most of the time that's the case if you're doing it with a good company. But if you enhance that kind of buy and hold strategy by using the safeguard strategy, you'll always be lowering your cost basis. So over time, you'll make more and you'll do better in bear market situations, because your cost basis will always be lower than someone who's just outright buying. So that's the safest type of strategy that we teach at the Dorian Trader. Another type of strategy that we teach is what is called a long-dated strategy. Some people use the terminology as a a leap strategy. We call it a long-dated strategy because most of the time when you're thinking about leaps, you're thinking about buying them. Maybe you buy a call and hoping the stock is going to be up, a year from now or 2 years from now. Or maybe you buy a put and hoping that or betting that the stock is going to be down or the market's going to be down a year from now or 2 years from now, depending on the time frame that you set that leap up. But at the Dorian Trader, we call the strategy a long-dated strategy because we're selling options. We're selling puts and calls a year or more out, and we're selling them at super low deltas. So if you understand anything about deltas, the lower your delta, the lower your risk. So most of the time we're selling something at a 5 or lower delta that is expiring a year or more out, and that gives us time to deal with a stock going down a lot or going up a lot or whatever the case may be. You're giving yourself a lot of time to be able to make things work in your favor. And so those type of strategies require very little buying power, even for a regular T margin account. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, just look it up. You can learn more on our website about these kind of things. You can also learn by joining our webinars that we do almost every week for free. We teach a great deal about things like margin, strategies, risks, all of those kind of things you can learn on our website, on our webinars. So we encourage you to check that out. Go to our website. But with this, going back to this long-dated kind of process, we teach this and we teach it at a high level, teach you how to sell naked puts and sell naked calls and turn them into strangles to be able to manage it and be able to make a ton of money over time. It's a longer process, but you're not going to be in these trades most of the time for a year. Most of the time, you're going to be in these trades for 5 to 8 months, and you're out, and then you do the process over again. And you're doing them on big companies, S&P 500 companies, mostly S&P 100 companies, like the biggest 100 companies in the S&P 500. So that's another strategy. Then we start getting a little bit more risky, but this is my favorite strategy, is what we call the bread and butter type of strategy. The bread and butter strategy is a 30 to 60 day time frame where you're putting on strategies like a put spread or a call spread or an iron condor. You can do a strangle, but most of the time we're doing put spreads, call spreads, and iron condors, and that are 30 to 60 days to expiration, and we're trying to have a 70 to 95% probability of winning on these trades. And this is what I did in my hedge fund for a decade, primarily selling these type of strategies on options on futures. So if you don't know what options on futures are, we teach that and trade it on a daily basis at the Dorian Trader, and obviously we trade options on stock. So the bread and butter strategy is my favorite strategy. I've been doing it for years, for more than 2 decades. So that is a strategy you can learn, right? And then if we get a little bit more risky, something that I'm really starting to love is what we call a 7 DTE strategy. DTE means just days to expiration. So it's a shorter time frame. It's a shorter time frame that allows you to make money faster, allows you to accelerate the learning process faster. But if you can really hone in and really learn the process, learn how to adjust, learn how to manage your risk, you can make a ton of money with the 7DT strategy. We've been doing it on a weekly basis for about 5 months, and we haven't lost on the trade because we understand the risk management, we understand the adjusting. Yes, we're going to lose eventually, but we're going to make sure that loss is small, and then we're going to start the winning process over again. We're going to go back on a streak, hopefully, and be able to continue to kind of, to some degree, try to print money with the 7DT strategy. Now, so we teach that at the Dorian Trader. And then the next strategy, getting a lot more risky, is what we call the 1DTE strategy. And the 1DTE strategy just means it's going to expire the next day in 1 day. And so I love this strategy as well. We've been doing awesome with this one as well, but it's been taking a long time to get the cadence, to understand it, to understand the risk management with it. And so we've been trading it for about 2 years, and for over the last 4 to 5 months, we've only lost 1 time. And that's because we got better at understanding how to manage it, and we can teach you that process if that's what you want to learn. And then the most risky strategy for options trading that we teach at the Dorian Trader is what is called a 0DT option strategy. That means it's a day trade, right? So you've probably seen a lot of different videos on YouTube regarding the 0DT strategy. You might have seen people talking about it on CNBC or Bloomberg, because they just came out with an ETF that's kind of structured around the short-term trading, 1DTE and 0DTE. So it's become really, really popular. At the Dorian Trader, we have an expert at the process. His name is Dr. Meadows, and he's been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years on a daily basis as he works as a full-time physician. And he has created a course called the Statistical Day Trading course that we offer at the Dorian Trader. That's just phenomenal. Everyone that's taken the course has pointed to it as a game changer. It's taught them a lot. It's not a long course, but it's super detailed. It's going to help you if you're interested in learning how to 0DT trade or day trade using options, which is phenomenal. You can make the most money doing that, but you also can lose the most if you do not understand the strategy. So with all of these strategies, you have to understand and jump in and really try to understand all the nuances about it, all the risk. And if you can do that, then you can make a ton of money using one of these strategies or a lot of them. I trade them all because I've been trading for years, but I encourage people who are new just to pick a strategy, focus on it, learn the basics of options, learn to get your solid foundation, focus on that strategy, all the details every day. Try to study the strategy, practice it, paper trade it, and then put some real money to work. That's a small amount of capital to work, learn it, and then once you start to succeed, then you can build upon that. It's a number of people, that's how they do it. Some people come into trading options and they just willy-nilly, they're just jumping around from all these strategies. They see us doing these strategies on our live calls and they say, oh, that looks exciting, that looks fun, let me do that. And then they really never learn any strategy. And that's hurting them, that's hampering their growth. You have to learn one strategy and then you can move on to something else if that's the case. But for me, I primarily trade the bread and butter. Like I told you, I've been doing that for more than 2 decades. And I now trade the 7DT strategy and the 1DT strategy, which kind of mirror each other. And then from time to time, I'm doing the 0DT strategy for members and things like that. But once again, I've been trading for a long time, so I understand the strategies. But if I had to pick a strategy, I would just pick one. It would be my bread and butter style because I know that's worked over the years, and so I have the confidence. I need more data, more time to know that the 7DT or the 1DT strategy, which I've been doing excellent at, will continue to work in a lot of different scenarios. I believe it will, but I need more time to be 100% certain. So learning to trade, making a ton of money, you can do it. We can help you at the Dorian Trader. You just need to put in the time, put in the work. You can't just watch a YouTube video and then go start pushing some buttons. You have to put in the work. We encourage people to study at least 7 hours a week or 1 hour a day, and then you'll see the process start to come together. You'll see the puzzles start to come together in a significant way. So do not be a lazy trader and just go start pushing buttons and don't even know how to take off a trade. Do not be that type. Learn and protect your money, respect your money, and make sure you understand what you're doing, especially if you're going to do the short-term stuff, the 0DTE type of trade, the 1DT type of trade, the 7DT type of trade. You want to make sure you understand the process. Now, one of the great things here at the Dorian Trader is that if you have a problem, all our members get 911 help for no additional cost. If you have a problem, we'll jump on a call and help you fix things. We can almost fix anything. We can't fix everything, but we can fix most things. So if you want to learn, we encourage you to join us at the Dorian Trader. But if not, continue to come to our free things, continue to watch our YouTube channel, support us that way. We're trying to grow it. Please leave a comment, tell us what you think, good or bad. We appreciate it. Tell me what strategy you are trading currently in the comments area. I respond to all comments, so looking forward to hearing from you. With that said, we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.